Classification level: Amber, restricted, pending reevaluation. Originating jurisdiction: Harlan County Medical Examiner's Office, Kentucky. Case type: chain of custody irregularity, unresolved biological material. Assigned field agent: Special Investigator Dana Voss, GS-13. Date file opened: October 14, 2023. Date file last accessed prior to current review: March 3, 1988. Supervising Archivist. Note: this file has been reconstructed from partial records, field communications, and materials submitted under FOIA request MUCH 2023-7741-B. Some sections have been redacted per Section 9C of the Registry Continuance Act of 1974. Redactions are indicated. Gaps in documentation are not errors. Gaps in documentation are features of this file. Do not request clarification on gaps. October 9, 2023. 11:14 a.m. Harlan County Medical Examiner Dr. Cecilia Morrow, age 44, receives 112 hatted manila envelope via standard USPS delivery to the professional address of the Harlan County Courthouse Annex, 20 South Main Street, Harlan, KY 40831. Envelope bears no return address. Postmark reads Lexington, KY, OCT 7. No fingerprints recovered from exterior packaging. No DNA recovered from envelope seal. Envelopes was sealed with packing tape. Dr. Morrow opens the package at approximately 11:22 a.m. She later states she assumed it was a vendor sample or a mislabeled lab return. She was wrong. Contents: 1. Standard issue evidence bag, clear polyethylene, heat-sealed, bearing a chain of custody label printed on what laboratory analysis will later confirm is paper manufactured no later than 1989. Inside the evidence bag: 1. Human finger, right hand, index, severed at the proximal interphalangeal joint. Preservation state: inconsistent with any known chemical method. The finger is not decomposed. The finger is not frozen. The finger is not fresh. Laboratory technician Marcus Webb will describe its condition in a personal communication to Dr. Morrow as like it was just waiting. The chain of custody label reads as follows: Intiles, digital remain, index, right case number, to TR-1987-0039. Collected by Agent H. Full. Date collected, 2nd 14th, 1987. Location, Harlan County. Notes: part of set. Do not separate. Return to primary storage upon analysis completion. At the bottom of the label, stamped in red ink that has not faded, Twilight Registry. Unresolved. October 9th, 2023, 2:47 p.m. Dr. Morrow calls the Harlan County Sheriff's Department. She speaks with Deputy Clint Farrow, who runs the case number through NCIC, CODIS, and the Kentucky State Police database. No results, no case, no victim, no crime scene report, no investigating officer, no record of any law enforcement activity in Harlan County on or around February 14, 1987, that could correspond to this material. Deputy Farrow tells her, "Cecilia, I don't know what to tell you. Far as every system I've got says this case doesn't exist." She keeps the finger. October 10th, 2023, 9:05 a.m. Dr. Morrow attempts to locate information on the Twilight Registry using standard internet search. Results are minimal. A Wikipedia stub deleted the same day she views it. A cached PDF of a 1994 congressional budget appendix that lists the registry under the heading Dormant Federal Programs, Pending Dissolution, alongside the phone number for a Washington, D.C. exchange. She calls the number. It rings. It rings for 47 minutes. She does not hang up first. October 11th, 2023, 11:30 a.m. Dr. Morrow receives a call from a man identifying himself as Administrative Officer Paul Greer, Federal Annex 7. He speaks calmly. He is apologetic. He says there has been a cataloging discrepancy and that the item she received was dispatched in error. He asks her to package the material and ship it to a P.O. box in Frankfort, Kentucky. She asks him, "What is the Twilight Registry?" He says, "We document things that other agencies decline to." She asks, "What happened to the rest of this person?" There is a pause of 11 seconds. He says, "That's what we're still determining." She does not ship the finger. October 12, 2023, 8 a.m. Dr. Morrow submits a FOIA request for all records associated with case number TR-1987-0039. She receives an automated confirmation email. She receives, 6 hours later, a second automated email informing her that her request is under review pending jurisdictional verification. She receives, at 11:58 p.m. that night, a third email. It contains one attachment, a scanned form, partially burned at the edges, barely legible. It is the original intake form for case TR-1987-0039. It lists the primary collection site as Harlan County Medical Examiner's Office, 210 South Main Street, Harlan, KY. Her building. Statement 001. Witness, Dr. Cecilia Morrow, County Medical Examiner. Taken by Ask Dana Voss. Date, October 14, 2023. Location, Federal Annex 7. Interview Room C. The following is a transcribed excerpt. Full audio available on request form TR-WS001N, subject to amber clearance. Voss, tell me about the building. Before we get to the package. Morrow, what about it? Voss, how long have you worked there? Morrow, 11 years. I took over from Dr. Garrett Luce when he retired. He'd had the position since, I want to say 1991. Before that, the office was run by a man named Tom Carver, but I've never been able to find records of his tenure. HR says there was a gap. They said it like that was normal. There was a gap. Like maybe the building just ran itself for a few years. Voss, does the building have a basement? Morrow, yes. Voss, have you been in it? Morrow, twice. When I first took the job and Garrett showed me around, and once about 4 years ago when we had a water line issue. It's not a functional space. There are some old storage racks, a decommissioned cold storage unit from the 70s, old file cabinets. Nobody uses it. Voss, Dr. Morrow, the intake form you received places the primary evidence collection for TR-1987-900039 at your building. It specifies lower level cold storage. Did you ever examine the decommissioned unit in your basement? Morrow, no, it's been out of commission for decades. The dial's rusted shut. Voss, is the unit still in the building? Morrow, yes. Voss, and you said the lock is rusted shut. Morrow, yes. Voss, Dr. Morrow, the intake form lists the case contents as follows. 1 complete human body, adult, sex undetermined, disarticulated for preservation, cataloged in 12 separate evidence containers, stored on site pending transport to Federal Annex 7. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Morrow, they never moved it. Voss, the transport was scheduled for March 1988. There is no transport record, no completion form, no closure document. Agent H. Full, who collected the material, is not in our personnel records. As of October 9th, 11 evidence containers remained unaccounted for. You received the 12th. Mama. Someone sent it to me. Voss, yes. Morrow, someone wanted me to find them. Voss, that is one interpretation. Morrow, what's the other? Voss, we're working on that. Statement 002. Witness, Marcus Webb, Lab Technician, Harlan County ME Office. Taken by S.I. Dana Voss. Date, October 14th, 2023. Excerpt only. Full transcript available upon clearance. Webb, she asked me to look at it without asking questions, and I tried. I really tried, but look. I've been doing this for 22 years. I know what preserved tissue looks like. I know what formalin does. I know what cold storage does over long periods. This wasn't that. Voss, can you describe it further? Wim. The skin had a texture like it was new, like it hadn't aged. The nail was intact, trimmed actually. The cut at the joint was clean. Not a surgical cut, but clean, like it had always been that way. Like maybe, and I know how this sounds, like maybe it had always been just a finger, like it hadn't come off anything. Voss, you're saying it showed no signs of having been part of a larger body. Webb, I'm saying the proximal wound showed 0 tissue trauma, 0 macrophage activity, 0 signs of separation stress. Whatever removed it from the hand didn't hurt it, didn't register. Voss, did you DNA test it? Webby, I ran a full panel. It came back clean. Human, adult, no matches in any database. But here's the thing. The DNA was consistent, completely consistent. Like a reference sample. It was too clean. Real tissue has degradation, noise in the data, little mutations, errors. This was like a textbook diagram of a human finger. Perfect. Like it was printed that way. Voss, Mr. Webb, have you returned to the building since October 9th? Webby, no. I called in sick on the 10th. I called in sick on the 11th. On the 12th, I drove to the parking lot and sat there for 45 minutes. Voss, why didn't you go in? Webby, because I remembered something. When I was running the analysis, I went down to the supply room in the basement to get more reagent. And I walked past that old storage unit, and I could hear it running. The decommissioned unit. Webby, it hadn't been plugged in since before I worked there. There's no outlet near it. I checked when I was hired because I thought about using the space. No power source. Nothing. Webby, but you heard it running. Webby, I heard it humming, like it was keeping something cold. Item 21201. 1. 1. Human finger, index, right hand, as described above. Currently held in registry cold storage, Federal Annex 7, Sublevel 2, Bay 4. Temperature, 34 varans of arise to status. Status, unchanged. Note, item was transported to Federal Annex 7 on October 13, 2023, with Dr. Morrow's consent. Upon arrival, the intake clerk, a Ms. Donna Hale, 27 years of service, examined the chain of custody label and stated, verbatim, "This label's one of ours. This is our old format. We stopped using this form in 1989. She was asked if she recognized the handwriting on the label. She said she needed a moment. She took the moment. She said, "That's H. Fole's handwriting. I'd know it anywhere." She was asked how she knew that. She said, "Because I trained under him, here, in 1987. She was asked where Agent Fole was now. Ms. Hale's expression did not change. She said, "He retired." She was asked when. She said, "I'm not sure he did, actually." Ms. Hale has been placed on administrative leave pending a wellness review. Item TR-2023-E02. 1. 1. Intake form original, partially burned, recovered via FOIA response. Paper stock confirmed. Hammermill bond, discontinued 1990. Ink confirmed. IPM Selectric typeface, consistent with registry typewriters in use 1975, discussed 1989. All 12 evidence containers listed by item number TR-1987-0039-A through TR-1987-0039L. Item TR-1987-0039L is the finger. Items A through K are described as follows. A. Cranium and mandible, complete. B. Cervical vertebrae, C1, C7. C. Thoracic and lumbar vertebrae with sacrum. D. Rib cage, complete. E. Upper extremities, bilateral, humerus through carpals. F. Lower extremities, bilateral, femur through tarsals. G. Pelvic girdle. H. Internal organs, thoracic cavity. I. Internal organs, abdominal cavity. J. Soft tissue, head and neck. K. Remaining soft tissue, torso and extremities. Field note, this is a complete human body. This is not partial remains. Whoever this was, they are entirely present. They have been entirely present in the basement of the Harlan County Medical Examiner's Office for 36 years. IPATR 2023 I4Y-CHIO3. 1. 1 photograph, black and white, 4x6, found tucked inside the original intake form. Image depicts the basement of 210 South Main Street, Harlan, KY. Cold storage unit visible in background. In the foreground, a man in a dark jacket stands with his back to the camera. He is holding a clipboard. On the wall behind him, barely legible, a handwritten note on yellow paper, taped at eye level. Forensic enhancement of the note reveals the following text. She'll know what to do when the time comes. HF. Dr. Morrow has been shown this photograph. She has confirmed the handwriting is not familiar to her. She has confirmed she has never seen this photograph before. She has not confirmed whether she recognizes the man in the dark jacket. She has declined to address the question. The question remains open. EIDA-VOS. Personal field log, not for official record. Submitted voluntarily, October 13, 2023, 9:42 p.m. I'm writing this because if I put it in the official report, it gets sanitized. It gets the language of process applied to it, and then it becomes a form instead of a thing that happened, and I need it to be a thing that happened. I went to the building today with Dr. Morrow and 2 forensic contractors from the Louisville field office. We went to the basement. The cold storage unit is approximately 4 feet wide, 6 feet tall, the old upright cabinet style, harvest gold, vintage 1971. The dial on the exterior is corroded to the point of being fixed in place. There is, as Marcus Webb stated, no visible power source. It was humming. Sound was low and even and domestic. The kind of sound a refrigerator makes at 2 a.m. when the house is quiet and you notice it for the first time and wonder how you ever didn't notice it before. The contractors pried the door open with a flat bar. It took 8 minutes. The seal on the unit had not been broken in a very long time. Inside, 11 evidence bags, clear polyethylene, heat-sealed. Chain of custody labels in the same format as the label on the finger. Same handwriting, same red stamp. Twilight Registry, unresolved. The contents were as described on the intake form, a complete human body, 36 years in an unplugged cold storage unit. The tissue state was identical to what Marcus Webb described. Not decomposed, not perfectly preserved, just pressed and waiting. I have processed a lot of scenes. I have opened a lot of things I should not have had to open. I want to record that this was different. I want to record that the difference was not about what I saw. It was about the temperature in the room, which dropped 11 degrees between the moment we opened the unit and the moment we stepped back. It was about the forensic contractor, man named Breckenridge, ex-Navy, absolutely not the type, who said, quietly, with his back to us, "There's still work in here," and then said nothing else. The body is being transported tonight to Federal Annex 7. The identity is still unknown. I have run everything available. There is no missing person report, no Jane or John Doe report, no dental match, nothing. It is as if this person never existed outside of this building, outside of this case file, outside of the hands of Agent H. Foley, whose employment record at the Twilight Registry consists of exactly one document, his intake form for this case. That is all. No hire date, no personal information, no photograph. One form, one case, one body. And then he gave the finger to someone to mail 36 years later. October 14th, 2023, 20:17 a.m. I can't sleep, so I'm in the archive room at Federal Annex 7, cross-referencing personnel records for any documentation of H. Fole that predates 1987. I found one thing. In the 1974 registry directory, a physical document, spiral-bound, kept in a locked cabinet that required 3 separate authorizations to open, there is a staff listing. 41 agents, 3 archivists, 2 administrative staff. I read every name. H. Fole is not listed. But in the notes column beside entry number 22, a special investigator whose name has been whited out, someone has written in pencil, in the margin, in handwriting that is definitively not the same as the handwriting on the evidence labels. He doesn't age. Don't ask him about the cases. Don't ask him how long he's been here. He just collects what needs collecting and puts it where it needs to be until the right person comes along. Don't worry about him. He knows what he's doing. I photographed the page. I went back to my room. I sat on the edge of the bed and I thought about Dr. Morrow and the photograph of the man in the dark jacket and how she didn't say she didn't recognize him, how she declined the question. I think I need to talk to her again in the morning. I think she knows something she doesn't know she knows. October 14, 2023, 8:55 a.m. I talked to her this morning. I showed her the 1974 directory note. I watched her face. I am trained to watch faces. Her face did not show surprise. I said, "Dr. Morrow, have you ever been contacted by the Twilight Registry before this month?" She said, "Not that I remember." I said, "Is there something you might not remember? Something that would have been..." I don't know how to ask this. Something that would have been placed inside you rather than told to you. She set down her coffee cup. She said, "When I was 8 years old, my mother took me to visit my father at work. He was a building inspector. He inspected a property on South Main Street in Harlan that was being converted into a government office. I remember waiting in a hallway while he talked to someone. I remember a man crouching down to my eye level. He had a dark jacket. He said, I don't know, it's a childhood memory, they're unreliable, but I remember him saying, 'You're going to take care of something for us someday. You'll know what to do.' And then he stood up and walked away, and my father came out and we left." She looked at me. She said, "I became a medical examiner because I wanted to give the unnamed dead their names back. I thought that was just who I was. I didn't say anything." She said, "Was it always this? Was it always for this?" I still didn't say anything. The honest answer is, I don't know. The honest answer is also, probably. The honest answer is also, the Twilight Registry has been doing this for a very long time, and we are not always the ones making the decisions we think we're making. Current status, open, active investigation. Identity of remains, unknown. DNA analysis ongoing. No familial matches in CODIS or international databases. Forensic anthropology estimates the individual was between 30 to 45 years of age, likely male, no evidence of disease or trauma pre-mortem. No evidence of cause of death. This is noted as atypical. This is noted as extremely atypical. There are no findings consistent with any cause of death. The body shows no signs of ever having died. Supplemental notation from forensic pathologist Dr. Andrew Kale, Federal Annex 7, October 15, 2023. In 30 years of practice, including time at the Armed Forces Medical Examiner's Office and 7 years with registry cases, I have never submitted a report like this one. I am submitting it anyway because the alternative is not submitting it, and I do not believe that would make the facts less true. The remains of TR-1987-0039 present no pathological cause of death. There is no cellular degradation consistent with death. There is, and I understand the implications of this statement, evidence of ongoing metabolic cellular activity in several tissue samples across multiple evidence containers, activity which should not be possible given the conditions of storage or the separation of the tissues from one another. In simpler language, some of this tissue is still alive. I recommend this information be restricted to amber clearance and above. I recommend Dr. Morrow be kept away from the facility. I recommend nobody open those bags again. I also note, and I will put this in writing because someone should, when I was working in Bay 4 last night, the 11 containers were arranged exactly as they had been when they arrived. I left the lab at midnight. I returned at 6 a.m. The containers had been moved. They were arranged in anatomical order. Someone had laid them out in the shape of a body. There is no footage from the Bay 4 camera between 3:17 a.m. and 3:44 a.m. Technical Services says this is a system error. I do not believe that. I am recommending immediate escalation to red clearance. Recommended action. Escalation pending. Red clearance authorization requires sign-off from the registry's Senior Oversight Officer. The position of Senior Oversight Officer has been vacant since 2019. The mechanism for appointing a new Senior Oversight Officer is outlined in the Registry Continuance Act of 1974, Section 4B, which specifies that the appointment must be made by the previous Senior Oversight Officer or their designated successor. No designated successor is on record. The previous Senior Oversight Officer's file contains one notation under the heading Final Case Assignment, TR-10039, DR. Morrow's final statement, submitted voluntarily, October 15, 2023, 11:58 p.m. I went back to the building tonight. I know Voss told me not to. I went back because I needed to see the basement empty. I needed to know they were gone, that they were somewhere they could be figured out, that I had done the thing I was apparently born to do. The basement was empty. The cold storage unit was open. It was dark. I was about to leave, and then I smelled something. You work in this field long enough, you know the smell of cold storage, the particular dead air smell of a sealed space. It was coming from my office upstairs. I went up. My office was locked. I unlocked it. The smell was stronger. There was an evidence bag on my desk, clear polyethylene, heat-sealed, chain of custody label. It was not there when I left this morning. I know it was not there. The building was locked. The bag contained a finger, left hand, index finger, different from the first. The label read TR-1987-0039-L. The same item number, the same case. I have been sitting here for 2 hours and I cannot make myself call Voss. I cannot make myself call anyone. Because if this is the same case, and there were only 12 containers and we took all 12 and the first finger came back, then what was in that unit wasn't. I don't know what was in that unit. I don't know if it was ever just a body. The bag is still on my desk. The building is empty. The cold storage unit in the basement is open.